What's good, YouTube? It's Classic MMA. Today I'm back with another video. Today I will be bringing you the UFC Fight Night Gabriel Bonfim vs Randy Brown full card breakdown and predictions. So let's not waste any time. Let's get started. Opening the prelims, we got Jackson McVeigh vs Zachary Reese. It's actually McVeigh's third opponent after Robert Valentin pulling out, and Dante Johnson from last week's card was going to originally step in, but he wasn't medically cleared, so we got Zachary Reese instead. So McVeigh is the guy who just debuted against Bruno Ferreira on UFC 319 and got absolutely destroyed. Which, I mean, I can't blame him. Bruno Ferreira is like a borderline ranked guy at 185, so it's not bad. Kind of just a tough debut. Zachary Reese is a solid journeyman who has shown he can beat lower level competition and also seems to have some favor in the UFC as he low-key robbed Dusko Todorovic, but we don't talk about that. I know most people are going to say that Zachary Reese runs through him, but let's not act like but also, this fight's on 3 days' notice, and let's not act like Reese is some world beater. This dude is not that great. But still, though, with my final prediction, I will be picking Zachary Reese here by decision. I do think he'll be able to take advantage of McVeigh's, laughably just slow leg kicks he throws, which are free takedowns for any wrestler with a brain. Then also just have pretty mediocre striking defense. Still, though, decently exciting fight. Just wish it was like Dante Johnson instead, but can't get what we want. Alright, moving on to the next fight on the card, we got Miles Johns versus Daniel Marcos. Actually, a pretty decent matchup, as we got Miles Johns, who a lot of people thought got robbed against Gene Matsumoto. Personally, I wasn't that mad with the robbery because I didn't pick Miles Johns, but I could see why if he thought he won on damage, probably, yeah. Miles Johns has some pretty decent striking with a decent amount of power for bantamweight. Just kind of no technique behind it. Daniel Marcos, who was kind of like, the most auraless, undefeated fighter there was for like an undefeated prospect, but before he lost to Montel Johnson, or Jackson, whatever the hell his name is. Daniel Marcos himself is a very technical striker who has also been in some pretty controversial decisions. So I know people may be tempted to pick Miles Johns here, as Marcos went to split decisions with David Grant and a washed Adrian Yanez. But the problem is, who is Miles Johns' best win? Tell me. Cody Gibson. He just hasn't done much. That doesn't impress me. So while Marcos may be boring and not that great, I will still be taking Daniel Marcos by probably a controversial split decision, where he probably robs Miles Johns. Let's just be for real here. I do think his overly technical style will be enough stylistically to mess up Miles Johns' rhythm, and Marcos will be able to land enough on the feet to win a competitive decision, I'd say. Moving on to the next fight, we got some WMMA. Hooray! Who doesn't want to watch? Who isn't excited for this fight? This is the real man's fight right here. Oh, joking. Not gonna spend too much time here, but I do think Denise Gomes should be able to pull this off, as she has decent power for a WMMA fighter, which is quite unusual. And well, Pennington's a decent vet. I do think Gomes can pull it off. So give me Gomes by decision here. I'll show y'all my full card picks so y'all can look at them later. Alright, now I'm actually excited for this fight. Josh Hockett versus Max Jimenez. I don't know how to say this dude's name. He's a jobber. So we got fat, and I mean fat, Colby Covington from Dana White Contender Series versus a random jobber from the regional scene who also lost to a dude with a 2-4 record. Got KO'd by him too. That's special. Obviously, I'm not going to be, offensive in this fight. Saying, I don't know, man. I might just have to pick Max Jimenez. He might have something. Nope. I'm picking Hockey here, as he really isn't that good. I watched him in the Contender Series, and that was one of the most mid TKOs I've ever seen in my life. But this guy's prop is still a lot worse than him, and I feel like Hockey should be able to get this done by I'd say, what am I thinking? Round 1, ground and pound TKO. Maybe a sub too, because he has some decent jiu-jitsu too. Alright, now for some more WMMA slop. Myra Bueno Silva versus Jacqueline Cavalcanti. I don't know how to say that name. Let's see, who am I picking here? Honestly, I could care less about this fight, but I'll take the Jacqueline Cavalcanti here by decision, as Myra Bueno Silva here's on a 3-fight losing streak and should not be ranked, to be honest. On On to the next fight, a fight I'm actually decently excited for. We got Ricky Simone versus Raoni Barcelos. Let's see. Ricky Simone has just bounced back from a 3-fight losing streak, and Chin Javi Basharai, who was a pretty big prospect. I mean, I never thought he was that good, but Ricky Simone is also probably one of the better pure wrestlers in this division. So we got Raoni Barcelos, who is 38 years old, but somehow he just keeps on picking up wins. I mean, he beat Peyton Talbot back in January? Yeah, that was as I know Peyton Talbot's a 1,000 favorite going into that fight, and that's aged pretty well. As Peyton Talbot's probably going to be ranked by December after he beats Henry Cejudo. Spoiler for who I'm picking there. Barcelos, well, he's not the most skilled guy. I'd say most of his opponents lately probably are better than him in most, facilities of MMA. He just finds ways to win. So who will I be picking here? I actually did think about this. I fenced it a bit, but after thinking about it, I think I'm gonna go with Ricky Simone, as he's the better wrestler, he's the better striker, and I just feel like he should be able to win this fight. As he's on a pretty good run. I could even see a TKO, but I could see a TKO here, kind of like similar to the one he got versus Basharat, but I'm going to keep it safe and pick Ricky Simone by a chill, 29-28, 30-27 type decision. Next fight, I'm actually another banger, low-key. Jamal Emmers versus Hyder Mo. See, another banger fight, honestly. We got two fighters. Both these dudes are going to stand and bang, let's be for real. I don't know why this is at near pick 'em odds, though, as Jamal Emmers got TKO'd by Nate the Train last year. And I mean, TKO'd slimed out bad by Nate the Train. And yes, I know Hyder Mo took that 30-second KO loss to Jose Delgado. But honestly, can you blame the man? Jose Delgado's legit going to be ranked next year. Might be a champion one day, you never know. Maybe I'll make a video about that next. My final prediction here, honestly, I'm not going to think about it much. I'm just going to pick Hyder Mo by round 1 TKO. Let's be for real. He's going to get him with the right hand and probably just slime Jamal Emmers out. This fight won't be competitive. Actually, it will be a bit competitive because Jamal Emmers probably can't drop Hyder Mo, because I am scared for that chin a few months after the Delgado fight. So give me Hyder Mo. Probably, let's say he'll probably get dropped in the first, then come back and get a big KO. So first round KO for Hyder Mo. Now for an absolute banger here. Come on. This is a real hardcore dream right here. Marco Tulio versus Christian Leroy Duncan. So, probably the fight I'm most excited for on this card. Maybe besides the main event. I don't know. That could also just be a boring smudge fest too, though. So, let me see. We got Marco Tulio, who is probably, one of the better middleweight prospects. He might be the best one there is right now. Has a ton of KO power, and he's really fun to watch, honestly. He also has some solid BJJ. I know he hasn't used much in the UFC, but if you watched his Contender Series fight versus Girsuri Bogori, the guy that just beat Bakov a couple weeks ago, then you'll see that he actually does have some pretty solid BJJ. COD, on the other hand, I mean, his only two losses are, he has 2 losses to, what's his name, Armin Petrosian, which I'll give him a pass for since it was his debut, and then he lost to RoboCop by decision, which, you know what? He went to the decision with RoboCop. He didn't get slimed out by RoboCop. That's impressive. RoboCop has crazy KO power. COD himself has some really nice striking too, though. That spinning elbow KO he got over Eric Anders, besides the nut shot and the eye poke. That was a pretty crazy KO. Now, he also has some decent wrestling too. So I think this fight's gonna be pretty close. I think they're probably around the same level on the feet. What I think is going to separate this fight is going to be the BJJ advantage for Marco Tulio, which is why I'll be picking Marco Tulio by decision here. Where I think it's going to be close on the feet, but I think Marco Tulio is going to be able to mix in wrestling and win a close 29-28 decision. Ismail Bonfim versus Chris Padilla. Pretty solid fight here. I'm not too well versed on either of these guys, to be honest. I mean, I've watched them fight obviously, but not So we got Ismail Bonfim, who's looked pretty solid in the UFC. That head kick KO over Terrence McKinney had people thinking he was going to be nice. And, well, he's not that good. He's still solid. Only losses being to BSD, who's ranked, and Nazim Sadikov, who will probably be ranked by the end of 2026, by the big guess. Chris Padilla, on the other hand, he's a pretty solid unranked lightweight, 3-0 in the UFC with a win over Rongzu, which I do rate Rongzu solid. What I think separates this fight, though, because it's a hard fight to call, I won't lie. I've seen people making picks on both sides. I think I will be going with Ismail Bonfim here. For one reason, though. One, I just think his brother fights on the main event. I think they're going to rob him. I think if this fight's anywhere near close, I do think the robbery could happen for Chris Padilla, which sucks. But hey, you saw the whole betting scandal. You know what happens in the sport. Also, Chris Padilla had that horrible fight versus Jai Herbert, where they both threw like 20 combined strikes, and somehow I don't even know if anyone deserved to win in that fight, but I guess Chris Padilla got the split. So I don't know. I think Ismail Bonfim should be able to do just a little bit more to win on the cards here. Probably a nice striking fight. Might be a little boring though. So give me Ismail Bonfim by decision. Next, a fight that I'm pumped for. Every hardcore should be pumped for this fight. We got my boy Muslim Salikov versus Uros Medic. I forgot to say that dude's name, but alright, we got Muslim Salikov. His name is the King of Kung Fu for a reason. This dude's 41 years old and he's picking up spinning world kick KOs. Just styling on people. I mean, who doesn't love Muslim Salikov? Crazy KO power in his prime at 41 years old. I mean, dude's crazy. Then we also got Uros Magic. He was pretty hyped up as a prospect a couple years ago. I know that. People thought he was going to be nice, but then we realized he has no chin and kind of sucks after the first round. Considering the way I'm talking, you could probably guess what I'm going to pick here. I'm taking Muslim Salikov. You want to know what I'm taking him by? Round 1 spinning wheel kick KO. He's going to spinning wheel kick him, send him to the Shadow Realm. That's my prediction. Also, crazy here, but why is Uros Medic a 205 favorite? Like, look at that. That's stupid, man. I mean, hey, I'm not a betting channel, but make your money if you want to. Next, we got a pretty laughable co-main, I won't lie. Matt Snell versus Joseph Morales. Matt Snell is, he's the guy that's gotten chin to literally everyone in this division. Pantoja chinned him. I know Steve Ursa got him. Like, he is coming off a win, surprisingly, though, over what's his name? Jimmy Flick? Yeah, Jimmy Flick. Forgot it. He wasn't very good either, but good. But you put Matt Snell against Mid, he'll win. Now, Joseph Morales is a fighter that was cut from the UFC at one point and is now on his second trip here. Climb back slowly. Now he's won tough, which I don't rate anyone that won tough, but I do think he's actually not bad. And he beat that one guy from Kazakhstan. Can't remember his name, but I know it was a pretty solid win for him. Got the submission. So honestly, not a very hard fight to pick, I'd say, since Matt Snell literally gets finished by everyone. I mean, this dude got subbed by Cody Durbin. Who gets subbed by Cody Durbin? Wow. Give me Joseph Morales by a round 1 submission. Probably like a rear naked choke if I had to make a guess. Now for the main event. Yeah. Now, even though this probably shouldn't be a main event, as this was booked for UFC Rio a couple weeks ago before getting moved to here because the UFC wanted to give us more Apex slop. Thank you, Dana. But I was excited for this matchup. It's not just because I want to see Gabriel Bonfim get slammed out, but other reasons. Randy Brown himself's had a bit of a career resurgence as he should be 4-0 like in his last 4 fights because he low-key got robbed against Brian Battle. And that KO he got over Dalby was nasty, I won't lie. I mean, his only loss in the past 5 years? Yeah. Or is it JDM who's champ, even though that was a submission loss, which is questionable, but still, I mean, JDM's champ, that's the go. Gonna be Islam next week. Don't quote me. And then also only lost to Brian Battle by a split decision, which he probably should have won, as he was just getting hugged on the fence and won on damage. So now for Gabriel Bonfim, even though we all hate this man, he entered the rankings in July after robbing a 42-year-old Wonder Boy by just holding him on the fence. Still though, Bonfim has really nice submissions, submission skills. Shit. Crazy starter. We're also having some pro boxing experience too, and decent hands. I've seen him. He dropped what's his name, Trevin Giles, I believe, with the hands. So he has decent hands. Now, early in this week, I was actually gonna pick Bonfim, as I did not like that submission loss to JDM. I'm gonna be for real. JDM, you're losing to JDM by sub, Randy Brown. But after thinking it some more, Bonfim is just not that good. He's of course that submission in round 1. That's the only way he wins this fight if he subs Randy Brown in 1, which could very well happen. But what I think is going to happen in this fight is that first round, I think Gabriel Bonfim is going to be able to get the takedown on Randy Brown. Control him, maybe nearly finish him with a choke. I don't know. But once we hit round 2 and 3, I think Bonfim's going to start to gas out. That man's cardio is not good. We saw it in the Wonder Boy fight. He gassed. And I do think that by the third round. I think Randy Brown's gonna be able to get that TKO and get that bonus. And we're finally gonna have Gabriel Bonfim out of the rankings, and Randy Brown can finally be ranked at 35 years old. Title run coming. Yeah. So yeah, I don't know. I'm actually pretty excited for this fight though. Fun main event. Also, the reason I'm picking Randy Brown here is that Gabriel Bonfim really struggled. If you're struggling to take down a 42-year-old Wonder Boy who legit does a karate blitz style, which the karate blitz style is sick, by the way, but it leaves the takedown right there. Just push him against the cage. Like, the game plan to beat him was right there. He didn't use it. Or he did try to use it, he just sucked at it, which shows he can't wrestle. So if you're not taking down a 42-year-old Wonder Boy, you're not taking down Randy Brown. Give me give me Randy Brown by round 3 TKO. So that's my full card predictions. Here's my picks. Y'all can peep them. So I got Reese by decision, Marcos by decision, Gomez by decision, Josh Hockey by round 1 TKO, Calvin Conti by decision, Simone by decision, Hyder Mel by round 1 KO, Marco Tulio by decision, Ismail Bonfim by decision, not Gabriel Bonfim, Muslim Salakov by round 1 KO, what's his name, Joseph Morales by submission in the first round, and Randy Brown by second round TKO. If y'all agree with any of my picks, I mean, I wouldn't mind to subscribe, trying to grow this MMA channel, make this something. I'll be posting videos every other day. I'll post my card reaction on Saturday, and then we'll do fights to make after and all that. So stay tuned. Anyways, bye y'all.